Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott, and I'm here today to do a collaborative video review of a new product from Hollyland, where a company that we've looked at a number of their products in the past because they really are designing a lot of very innovative things to work with production value for video, for filming, and so, for example, I routinely use their LARC 150 microphone, wireless microphone system for basically all of my videos, and so I found it to be a very useful and productive system. And so I was happy to look at a new product from them called the Solidcom C1. And this is a wireless intercom system designed around collaboration, be it with your production team on set, but then other applications. You can use it for, other filming situations, for churches, anything where you need to collaborate with a team with up to, you can go as many as 9 different team members, different headsets, all connected in. And it really is a very clever system. So since this is designed around collaboration, Craig and I decided that we would do this video as a collaboration to give you some of our thoughts and feedback together. So let's dive in and let's take a look at the Solidcom C1 wireless intercom system.
All right, let's get into the details first. So first of all, it does come in a very nice travel case. It is hard protective shell that's going to keep everything nice and safe inside, and then all of the headsets do come in with this nice little travel pouch, so everything gets tucked in the case at the end of the day for really nice clean setup. The red headset is the master headset. The blue ones are what Hollyland is calling the slave headsets. So there's no belt packs or anything of the kind. There's no central hub. It is simply the headsets on your head. That is all that you need in order to operate these things. Now, depending on your team size, one master headset can pair up to 5 slave headsets. And so if your team is a little bit bigger, right, you got more people within your team that you need to be involved within this communication device, then you will need a hub, right? And so a hub can do up to 9 people. So depending on the number of people within your team, you may need that central hub device, but if you have a smaller team, then you can avoid the clutter. These headsets are comfortable to wear all day long. They're very light on their head. They don't squeeze your temple as some other kind of over-ear headphones do for that matter. And they do come with some additional pieces. So naturally, ours came with kind of this fabric little cover here that you see, and they also offer a over-ear kind of leathered option as well. But both Dustin and I found that the fabric earpiece was a whole lot more comfortable. It really sits nice and soft over your ear. The battery life is fantastic, and it will cover your complete workday, most likely. So Hollyland are saying that one master headset with 5 slave headsets connected to it can run for 5 hours. And all the other remote headsets by themselves can run for 10. It's just the master that gets shorted. And it depends on how many headsets it has connected to it, right? So they're saying with 5 other remote headsets connected to it, it'll run for 5 hours. I did a test here and I connected just one headset to it, and it only reached low battery at the 9-hour mark. So these are going to last you pretty much all throughout the workday. And it does come with extra batteries to swap in if it does run out. The batteries only take 2.5 hours to completely charge, so this is really a great system here, and it was most likely going to cover you for your whole working day, unless you're working, of course, for more than 10 hours. So as we mentioned, there are no belt packs involved with these headsets, which means there's no push to talk button like some other formats you might have used in the past. And so right now I am muted because the microphone is in the upright 90 degrees position. But if I simply just lower it down, then I am unmuted and ready to talk as well. The mics are adjustable, so you can bring it in nice and close and adjust it to your face shape. So again, put it back up in the 90-degree angle upright mode, and I am muted. As far as volume control goes, these are designed to be very user-friendly. So the plus button is a whole lot bigger, the minus button there below it a whole lot smaller, so that simply just by feel you can tell which button you are pressing and easily navigate the interface so that you can quickly change whatever setting it is that you want to change. These are also built on the DECT 6.0 platform, so that does mean that there is encryption involved. So if privacy is something that you are worried about, nobody's going to be able to hook in to your connection and hear what you are saying. Now these headsets operate on the 1.9 gigahertz band, and so Hollyland claims that they can transmit up to the receiving headset up to a distance of 1,000 feet. Is that really true? Let's find out.
To test and see whether this product truly reached that 1,000 foot range, I headed off on a quick little jog. Once I reached the end destination of roughly about 1,000 feet, I could still properly communicate with Dustin all the way back with him still standing in his driveway. Now, quick little caveat here, Hollyland do say that it is within line of sight. And so that is certainly a big thing within reaching that full distance range of 1,000 feet. It is line of sight. If he stood in his house, then the connection was interrupted, but as soon as he came to the end of his driveway and we could make eye contact together and see each other within line of sight, the 1,000 foot range does test and prove to be true.
So we just got through testing out the range and actually using them. So what were your thoughts on the sound quality there and actually, the application? How did it actually work?
So compared to the other systems that I've used both through the college system that we had, which was all, belt packs and that kind of stuff. And then I've also used a different system within a church live streaming setting. This matched the best quality that I've used. For example, there wasn't a hissing or necessarily any kind of just background noise that isn't due to really
white
anything.
noise kind of thing.
Yeah, there's no white noise going on. So the sound quality was good. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
One of the things that I think stood out to me is that it felt almost intimate in the sense that it really felt like the person was right there in your ear. There wasn't this kind of tinny quality, or like you said, a lot of kind of distracting white noise or environmental noise that made you feel like you're kind of straining to hear the person. Like even if they were, hundreds of meters up the road, during that, it really felt like you were just right there talking, which is, it's almost disconcerting, really, in that sense, as you're kind of adapting to this feeling, like because your perception is the person is way off, but they're right there in your head. And so I think that's what's one of the things that stood out to me, is that really great kind of clarity on that, and then also just the way that the system works. There wasn't any kind of disconnect from that. The transmission of sound felt very, very close in that sense.
It was almost kind of a weird feeling. Like it was better than a phone call.
Yes.
It was, as you said, disconcerting. It was really close.
Like that's what I felt like, almost more intimate. Like you weren't talking to a person at a distance. It's like that person was like right there in your ear. So make sure that the person you're talking to is someone you want in your head. And so one of the things that we observed was, as far as the sound isolation, that there was an interesting correlation between the volume of the headset and subject, or kind of noise isolation from the environment. So kind of build on that a little bit.
Okay, so we were talking in a noisy environment. There were other people in the house having loud conversations, as family gatherings do. And so whenever we were using it, we found that the higher the volume that you had within your own earpiece, almost the higher
like mic sensitivity,
microphone sensitivity it got. And then likewise, the lower you brought the volume, the more the mic sensitivity lowered, and you could actually isolate that person's voice even more by lowering the volume. So if you're in a noisy environment and you're having trouble hearing somebody, turn it down, and that'll fix the problem, it seems.
Yeah, and interestingly, it's almost less a direct correlation with volume, because it seemed like when we brought it down, there still was plenty of volume in your ear, but I think that what you're saying about mic sensitivity is almost a bigger factor there, because it's what I really noticed dropping more than anything was environmental noise, whereas it just seemed to isolate your voice more in the midst of that. So it was kind of an interesting kind of correlation between those two things. One of the other things we observed about range had a lot to do with they say 1,000 feet line of sight, and so that line of sight thing definitely was a factor, right?
Absolutely. So you started in the house with the master headset, which has the red, and I had what they call the slave headset, which is on the blue. And so on this right part of the headset, you have the battery pack, and then on the left side is where actually all the transmitting and receiving is going on. And so whenever we did kind of start hitting a little bit of interruptions there, it seemed that, if I was wearing the headset like this and you're over here, if I keep this side towards you, then we have a constant connection. Whereas if I, flipped it over or turned my head the other way, then that connection got interrupted and the signal would drop sometimes. So yeah, if you're at great distances, make sure your receiving, transmitting portion is facing towards the master headset, and that will clear up the connection.
Definitely line of sight. Just remember that that really is a catchphrase. The other thing is we did notice a huge difference when it turned in the overall range when I was in the house versus when I stepped outside.
Yes.
And so inside the house, range was still good, all things considered. Like it was surprising how far you had walked up the street, and we were still having this conversation, like we're right across the table from each other like this. But when you started to break up, I started to hear those kind of missing, and it's almost like more like data packets that are missing as opposed to just, it's like something is starting to break up. But stepping outside, I would say it probably at least doubled the effective range for me to be getting closer to that line of sight. So that definitely, we were able to get very close to that 1,000 feet, I think, 300 plus meters. Yeah. And so that was good. One of the things that you very quickly picked up, because you were the first one to kind of go through the packet and go through things, is it really is plug and play.
Yes, absolutely. So reading through the manual, it'll say, there's an A and a B button on the headset. And if you hold the A button down for 5 seconds, both on the master and the slave headset, then that is what pairs them. However, just opening up the box, immediately putting in the batteries and turning it on, it was immediately connected. There was nothing you have to do. Out of the box, ready, which is convenient and super useful. And then additionally, what I really like about this, I know it's not necessarily part of the question, but having no mic pack or no belt pack, having no hub,
all self-contained.
There's no clutter whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
So you're not adding to your work site, to your environment. Anything else that you have to set up and put somewhere with more clutter, it all goes back into the little travel case at the end of the day, which I find extremely, extremely a positive point.
And so this travel case, this size, is housing how much? What do we got in here?
Yeah, so we got one master headset and then 3 connection slave headsets.
Okay.
Just within that, as well as the battery pack, charger, and all of that kind of stuff.
So all of that fits inside this. So obviously the size of the case is going to vary depending on your configuration. Yeah. So let's conclude our discussion on any kind of negatives. And really, I would say that what you just hit as a strength is really kind of the flip side of the only thing that I would consider a negative in terms of using something like this. And that is that, obviously, you have to really be committed to production because something like this is not discreet.
No.
And so, when you're wearing this, you look like you're an NFL coach on the sideline, right?
Yeah.
It's not like something you're going to wear that's going to be kind of subtle or stylish. Now, as you noted, this is an effective system in that it's reducing some of the other pieces of clutter as a part of that. But this is definitely something that's about production value and communication. It's not about, having a little, AirPod in your ear, that really kind of subtle or low profile kind of thing. So that's the only thing that I would say, for me, is that this is not an in front of a camera thing. This is a behind the scenes product, really. It's what it's designed for. Anything else that kind of struck you as a potential negative in your test or time using it?
Honestly, there's not a whole lot of negative here. I really like the system and the way that they've developed it and designed it. I would say one negative that I did pick up on is whenever you're adjusting the volume, whenever you reach that max volume, it's quite a small little kind of chirping sound that happens, like a little chirp beep, and it's not exactly loud.
Okay.
So it's not like the end of the world problem, but just some of those user designed recognition awareness things that they've built in aren't to the best quality that they possibly could be.
So you're saying that maybe in a loud environment, you may not even necessarily pick up on that.
You're not going to know you're probably at the max volume, I'm going to estimate. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good enough. All right. Well, I think that we can agree that in using it, it definitely does as advertised.
Yes.
And so it was a positive thing for us both.
Absolutely. So let's close this video out talking about who is this for? Who is this headset for? Who is going to be making use of this? Well, I think there's actually quite a wide variety of applications for this wireless communication headset. First of all, of course, you have, live video production. This could be within a church. This could be within a remote program, whether you're shooting, sports outside, doing a live stream of that. Whatever your live stream is, this is certainly a wonderful tool for the job in order for, audio people to communicate with video people, to communicate with the director, for all of your team to be connected. This definitely meets the needs of a team needing to communicate remotely all around the venue, right? So then we can also talk about wedding venues, drone operation teams, right? One person is driving the drone, another person is operating the camera to have communication. I know me and Dustin have even joked about using these headsets on the work site. You know, you're taking measurements of the building that you are trying to measure out all the corners of the buildings and the angles, and sometimes, you know, you're tens of meters apart and you're trying to do stuff and communicate. Well, how long is this measurement? And you're yelling measurements across the field, right? This headset would make it a little bit easier. There's certainly a number of practical applications that these headsets can meet the need of. And so if it meets your need, then the purchasing links are down below and you can follow through to order one of these devices for yourself. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day. Remember to like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more content. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day and take care.